Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Wow, that's kind of loud. Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024, and you are listening to the first episode of Java with Jimmy for 2024. Happy New Year to everyone. Listen, we're going to jump right in this morning. We have a very familiar guest in the Java Cafe this morning. Coach Meg has been with us. I believe she came in 21, 22 and 23, or maybe just 22 and 23, and this is her third appearance. But Coach Meg is going to be with us in just a few moments. Listen, do me a favor and share this status. Tag someone that you've conversed with. You all have discussed your New Year plans. The New Year, New You is sort of our theme for today. And I just want to reminisce a little bit. For those of you that have been part of the Java Cafe for a while, shout out to everyone over on Instagram, everyone listening from New York. That is our second largest city right now. But Coach Meg came in last year, and we started the conversation around a new year, new you. And somewhere in the conversation, and I wish I had the clip ready, the conversation switched to this term called integration. And I've mentioned this on the platform since. It is helpful to integrate life's issues into our lives, and not that we're defeatist, but we are accepting kind of what's going on, not in a defeatist manner, but really. And the only example that I can give, and I believe I got this from Coach Meg, was if you look at our seniors have been through a lot in life. And they reach a certain plateau or stage to where a lot of things, yes, they feel it, the emotion of it and things like that, but also it doesn't stress them as much. And they are a good example of integration. And so without further ado, I'm going to let her come. She's shaking her head in the background, so that means I'm doing all right. Coach Meg, good morning. Happy New Year.
Jimmy, what a great way to start 2024. I'm so happy to be with you.
I am so glad that you were available to come, because I would like, as long as you're willing to do it, I would like this to be a tradition to where on the first show, you come in and we set context for the year. And so for those that may not be familiar with who you are and did not join us the last couple of years, please greet the folks, say good morning, tell us a little bit about yourself. And we're going to jump in to this concept of New Year, New You, but also kind of examine some things. And this year, if it's okay with you, I would really like to talk about or further the conversation of integration into a healing space. Yeah. That's been a lot of buzz on social media about we need healing. There's the Murder in Boston docuseries that has brought a macro sort of sense to issues of race. And so I mean, last year was just complete fire. So I'm excited about today. Go ahead and greet the folks. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good. Hello, everyone. So I'm Margaret, also known as Coach Meg. I was born on a dairy farm. I went to a two-room school.
Never said, Coach Meg, you never. Okay,
I learned how to drive a tractor when I was 8. I did not like dolls. I was into tractors. But eventually I became a biologist, and I got an MBA, and I spent my first career in biotechnology. So I spent a lot of time with scientists and doctors. In fact, one of the projects I worked on was launching a a pediatric vaccine to stop meningitis in babies. So that was my first career. And then I started in coaching, and that's how I came to be close to many people at Mass General and the world that you live in. And I started a coaching school in the healthcare space. I co-founded an institute of coaching at McLean Hospital. And so I've become a coaching geek. And I really mean that. You know, I'm an innovator too, but I believe that there's just so many lessons that are in the science that people just don't know, and that they are attempting to understand the truth of things. And so, and sometimes the science is not replicable and it doesn't last, but it's pointing us towards more understanding. And so, so the whole idea of integration came out of that work, and some of the really my favorite researchers who believe integration is a basis for well-being. So it's a really important point, and it's not giving up. It's actually actively turning the trauma and just the little things like stubbing your toe or witnessing a murder. In the end, your brain wants to take that and turn it into something better and bigger and stronger and more whole. So the journey of integration is towards wholeness. And the more suffering you have, honestly, you get to more whole more quickly. That's the irony. Unfortunately, it's the path.
So Coach Meg, there's so much there. First thing that stood out was where you compared, stubbing your toe to witnessing a murder. That's like a huge spectrum. And it is one of the words I think of when you talk about integration, and the process of it is resilience. And the past few years, Coach, I've taken issue with the term resilience because, and it's kind of predicated on some of the things you're saying here, the way that people, and I'll just jump in, they say, oh, Black folks are such a resilient people. But the way we become resilient is to constantly keep going through things. And so in real time, I'm having a revelation. If that is a fact of life, then we just got to integrate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it as simple as that? It sounds simple, but you got me excited.
Yeah. I mean, the challenge is that, there's this term in healthcare, maybe you've come across it, social determinants of health.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and I prefer to call it social resources, because they're really resources. And
yes,
and we know that where you live and where you grow up, there are very different levels of resources. I mean, extremely difficult and different, I should say. And I consider that the ground of your life. And when the ground hasn't been well nourished and fertilized and, good learning experience as a kid and safe neighborhood and all those sorts of things, what happens is you have more to integrate.
Yep.
And if you get through it, I just watched Boys in the Boat yesterday. Have you heard of the movie?
I haven't not seen it. No.
So
have not seen it.
It's the story of a group of young men in the Seattle area who were born with nothing. I mean, they're living in old trucks and going to college. Living, sleeping, eating. Terrible and they turn themselves into rowers because they need an income to pay for tuition, and they win the Olympics 3 years later. And so they're laughed at, they're poor, they don't have good clothing, they don't have good manners, they've turned all of that into growth. And then when they're winning the race on the Olympics in front of the Nazis and the Germans, they're neck and neck with the Germans. They win by like a half a second or something, or like a fraction of a second. But you feel their superhuman power that's come from turning all of that yucky, horrible childhood into this amazing spiritual strength. And it's so moving. I really recommend people watch the movie, because it is all about that.
What is the name of it again, so I can put it up so people?
Boys in the Boat.
Boys in the Boat. Okay.
Boat.
And so, Coach, can we quickly do a review for those that aren't familiar with the term
Yeah.
or the concept of integration, so we can let folks know. And then we're going to jump into one of the things that really needs to be integrated into integration, if you will, is healing. And integration is a part of healing. And so we're going to share a clip about my definition of healing. But can you just review for us the concept of integration?
Right. So I'm going to describe it in biological terms, not because we know this is what happens, but because you can't really study this. You know, we can't watch this in action. But here's what I think is happening. There is a state you're in, okay? You're angry because you've been disrespected. You've been dissed, okay? And and so this part of you, this network in your brain is I'm angry network.
Yep.
I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry. I wish this anger would go away. I go for a walk. It's a little better. I sleep. It's a little better, but it's still there. Okay. So the integration is that there's another network in your brain for this wasn't about me. This is about them. Like they're mistreating me isn't me being a victim. They're mistreating me because they need to feel superior in order to feel safe. And so they're doing this to protect themselves. It actually has nothing to do with me. So there's a network in your brain that knows that. Maybe once in a while you have the thought, and then the two connect. And there's a wonderful study in Spain that I wrote about last year for the Institute. So there were 11 managers in a workplace, and they put a EEG headset on them. Okay, so it's measuring their brain activity, and they have three problems. One problem they just sit and think about, and the second problem, the coach gives lots of suggestions. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? The third is gets them is real coaching, which is inquiry. Like, so what's going on here, and what might be the best outcome that could happen, and what might lead you to that place? Like questions that get you thinking. Okay.
Yep.
And then the person pushes a button every time they have an insight, like
one of those aha moments. Yeah. Yep.
And of course, more insights happen when the coaching is facilitating their thinking. Okay.
Yes.
But 4 seconds before they press the button, 4 seconds, brain activity changes. There's a change in frequency of waves, and there's a lighting up of the region behind the right brain, that is right ear, that is thought to be involved in association, like things coming together. So I think what is happening is that one part of your, or maybe it's even beyond you, and that the part of you that's suffering gets an insight. Well, no, maybe this isn't about me. Why am I taking this personally?
Yep.
It's not personal. I'm just the target in the way of their problem. And then you say, oh, integration. My anger just settled into some calm. So that's what's going on here. It's real. It's a real phenomenon. And if you know that you're going to turn your pain into that growth, that's what I mean by wholeness, right? Because you've got more interconnections. And so instead of going down the anger road, you go, I feel badly that they have to do this to somebody else to feel better. I mean, gosh, like that's a bad state, bad place to be in. I'm glad I'm not in that.
Coach, okay, because I'm sitting here, you see my body language. I'm just shaking and taking notes, because this is how we sort of flipped last year into the conversation about race, because on a macro level, that's one of the major things where you talk about integration, where you're angry from lack of resources, and just dealing with things and supremacy and whatnot. And again, this is not defeatist. You just drew an example of the brain activity that happens when the side that's focusing, we're human. We can be narcissistic. We can be self-centered, and it could make us angry because how dare they? On a micro level, let's also name in racism and xenophobia and when we are not supportive of women, those things can make us angry. And so what you're saying now is, when we realize that it's not about us, on the micro. It may be about us a little bit on our demographic. Let's be 100.
Yeah.
But there's something that happens in the brain when we say, and the only quick term I can come up with from a sort of urban hood perspective is, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and is it, we're not being, I don't want the viewers to think that we're being very casual about real life issues. But one of the notes that I took was that you said that when those two parts of the brain come together, there's a calm that has been proven in this study. We know that stress, we know that anger, we know that those sort of social, emotional, negative experiences don't do well for our body. And so, if
Yeah.
for no other reason you look at integration, it's actually healthier for you, not just.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. This is good. This
Yeah,
is good.
exactly. And it means that I mean, sometimes the traumas and the tragedies overwhelm our resources to integrate. And, you know, and frankly, you know, I mean, I'm 66 and I still have nightmares that are related to my things that happened, you know, I put together, like, so it's not like, you know, so you know, there's a lot of stuff down there that didn't get integrated. Right?
Yep. Yeah. There's so
Right?
much.
Like there's plenty of raw material. But I think for those, you know, and I relate very much because I've lived through a whole generation of the attitudes towards women. And I don't know if I told you my story about working with the Met Police, Black and Asian cops. Did I
No,
tell my
no.
story? Anyway, well, I'll tell you. You want to hear the story? Okay, so
Go ahead.
I so this is integration. So I am a Canadian, and I went to a Canadian business school, and I was, you know, I came from a farm. I did not have a great education. I did not have a lot of stimulation. You know, I was compared to my colleagues at
Mhm.
university. But when I got to my MBA degree, I really did sparkle because it used my brain in the way that it was really meant to be used. And I was tied for first place in my first year. So in the second year, I went off on a scholarship to London Business School in London. Okay, so I start in business school, and I'm in like within a week, I've dropped 20, 30 IQ points because the Englishmen are so good at bullying and patronizing the women that I had no defenses. Like I didn't know how to do. I mean, I just like I just turned into this, like, you know, somebody that was mastering everything to, like, I couldn't put my sentences together. So I didn't stay in London. I went to the north of England, and I worked there. I worked in the north and in Nottingham for 6 years. So that's that. Okay. So now I come back. So in the pandemic, I took a lot of interest in helping white people after George Floyd was killed. And I really sat with that because I didn't grow up in Canada. It's a very different
Yep.
world. So I
Yep.
was really not very in touch and in tune with all of the history here. I mean, it was a strange foreign world. But anyway, my work caught the eye of a coach in England who was working with the Metropolitan Police, which is the 50,000 person police department in London. And I was asked to do some workshops on bias for a group of Black and Asian women and men. And that turned into a year-long leadership program with some very senior Black and Asian men and women. And then that culminated in, not this year, last year, I was in London. And so now I'm in the headquarters of the Metropolitan Police, full of very powerful white men.
Yep.
And I'm sitting in a room with a dozen. So the room has glass windows and everybody's looking in because there's this white blonde woman in front of a room of 12 colored people.
Yep.
And they're thinking, like, what's going on here? And I was fearless with the guys. Like, I had all of that I had 40 years ago was gone. And I sat and I just felt like I am shining bright as a good person, and I'm strong, and I'm not for a moment intimidated in this world, right?
Yep.
And that's integration.
That is integration. And
Integration. I went from vulnerable and intimidated, just intimidated, to unintimidatable.
So there were a couple of demographics in the room were definitely different, and that played a part in it. But a few things to extract from that was, one, we go into a lot of systems and structures that are led by white men. It just is. And so that can be a part of it as well. But the transition of you going from intimidated to, and you said that with a little conviction, unintimidatable. That is one of the benefits. One of the Sean was asking, what are we talking about? And we're talking, Sean, about like integration, accepting sort of what life is, not being a defeatist, but we're going to continue to talk more in the healing space too. But just it is what it is, and not in a defeatist manner. You just accept the reality, because a lot of times I think when things I'm analytical. I want to know why, what was the reasoning, what's the backstory, why didn't they blah blah, and then that just it's not good for you, because you get into a stressor space, you can't figure it out. And for me, if I can't figure it out, I start stressing because I need to connect the dots. And so that's sort of a update and review and an introduction for some around this concept of integration. You'll hear more about it through the year. But one of the things I mentioned to Coach Meg when we were in the sort of virtual green room was I put a video out yesterday around healing. Integration is a healing process. But would you agree, Coach Meg, that we need to be intentional about integrating healing into integration, if you will?
Well, I mean, in a way, so the thing that needs integration is the energy of discomfort.
Okay.
And that can be anything from,
Yep.
I don't know how to do something,
Yep.
to that person just,
Diss me.
was
Was
nasty, even violent. And so it's all the same thing. It's just a kind of discomfort, like it's unintegrated. Okay. It's like, well, if you think about bones healing or, skin healing, right?
Yep.
Your body is trying to fix and integrate. And so your body is doing it. And so when you go to sleep, their integration is happening. Your brain is integrating.
It's not thinking about what happened. The body's not thinking about what happened. It's just
actually integrating. But there's a bit of a backlog, right? Like there's a backlog. Like there's more that happened to you than your brain can get through integrating. And you
my goodness,
can walk, and so you end up with a bit of a backlog. And then okay, I've got to treat myself. We talked about this last year. I've got to treat my body well. Like I got to eat it well. I need to nourish it and hydrate it and make sure I can sleep, and so that I can get as much integration as I can. But then we can do it ourselves. And I've got an integration exercise if you want to do it with everybody.
Okay, let's do.
When if that, then I can, then you can actually maybe experience a little of it.
We can do that. What I want to do is show a little bit of the video, get your impressions on my definition, and then we can go from there. Now, last time I was on last year, sound wasn't working right, so we're going to pray that everything does what it's supposed to do. And Tina's going to get me for that still shot. But Coach, if you could just shake your head in the background if you hear the sound. Okay, Coach Meg said no, she couldn't hear it. This thing, Jesus. Okay, let's try it again. And try to get the sound up. This drives me crazy. All right, share screen. Window.
Turn on your computer. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Hopefully that is not it. Now, I just tested it a few minutes ago. Let's try it again. Please share a tab. I think we are good. Coach Meg. Let's give it 1 second.
What's healing mean to you, James?
Oh God. I'm sorry.
Oh God. Oh God.
Healing. I'm like, you gonna pull out that. Healing to me means the ability to to recognize, embrace, address, and get on the journey of processing, being not past, moving with, integrating our trauma, our negative life experiences, coupled with Black joy and the good, to get to a point that it goes back to we are living a balanced, holistic quality of life.
Coach, did the volume come through that time?
It was good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I have to integrate that sometimes tech, and that's one of the areas, Coach, I'm not doing well in, because when tech doesn't do well, integration goes out the window. All right, your feedback on that definition, and I have to thank you, because when you introduced that concept last year, that thing has really stuck with me.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, I can do a practice right now and show you how your words work, if you like.
Let's do it.
Okay. So it's totally up to everybody that's listening whether they want to do this. You do not need to know how to meditate. You don't need to. You just need to be present right now. So bring to mind something that's making you uncomfortable or suffer. Just something, let it pop into your mind, whatever it is. You got one, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
It could be, yeah, okay, good. Okay, so you remember you said recognize. Okay, so recognize, so just think about this state as a little packet of energy. Okay, just imagine it's sort of like a little packet of energy of discomfort, maybe a little anger, a little disappointment, a little sadness, a little down, a little anxious, whatever it is, but just think of it. And so you're recognizing it as, this is a state of, let's just use your tech example, of feeling a little anxious. I'm trying to do something, it's public, everybody's listening, I want it to work, it's not working, this does not feel good. Okay, so you've got that. Okay, so you're aware of it, you're recognizing it, and you're embracing it. You're saying, okay, I'm human, this is the moment, this is the thing I'm feeling. That's the energy. It's energy, right? Like I can't just, I wish I could just like pop it and it would go, but it doesn't. So it's there, and it's there to get my attention, because it's like a crying child. It's asking for me to come and look at it and be with it and be nice to it and recognize I'm human. And this is part of being human. Okay, so now we've recognized it, we've embraced it. Okay, now here's the deal, Jimmy. Right behind that packet of energy is the integration. So I call this the declips. So the energy of the discomfort is eclipsing, like when the moon goes in front of the sun, it's eclipsing the sun behind. Okay, so we're going to ask this packet of energy, this little feeling of anxiousness, to just roll over to the side here. Okay, just in your mind, it's so you don't feel it, it's not in front of you anymore.
Yep.
Right? Then I'm going to take you through an exercise so you feel the integration. Okay. So you can close your eyes. Bring your mind, which is a bigger field of energy, bring it all the way down to your bare feet. Ground your feet on the ground. Sand, dirt, grass, whatever. Then bring that energy up through your gut, where it gets a little bit of metabolizing. Then into your heart, so it connects, and then up to the big, big, big sky where it expands. and then just come back and feel the integration.
There is a really, now I have to admit, not an expert, but I do know how to, in extreme times of anxiety, do what I call the 10, 12, 15. So I'm familiar with the entry level of meditation. And so it was the rooting and kind of feeling it, opening the sky. We moved that issue to the side and we brought to the forefront integration.
Yeah.
For the education of those that are watching, is there a process from highlighting what that integration is? Do we need to say, in my particular case, it was the tech? And I'll be honest with you, you're very intuitive, because that was the issue that I had in front of me. It just happened. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to go too far out. Just had an issue. Is the integration when the sun comes up, basically, for moving that issue to the side? Are there steps? Do we out of that exercise, how do we apply cognitive behavior things to after we do that? Then what are things that we do so when that eclipse attempts to come back, we can declipse?
Yeah. Well, I would recommend you not do this when you're driving.
I'm done, Coach.
But
But that's
when I
say that's one place that, now I'll be honest, integration while driving is a good thing. Go ahead, Coach.
If you're in the back seat of an Uber, then yeah, then you could do it.
No, I mean the concept. I'm one of those Boston drivers. Yeah, integration would do me some good while driving, but not the process of it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, when I first discovered this little technique, a little hack, it's not going to integrate trauma. I'm telling you, it's like small packets.
Right. But every little bit counts if you can get rid of it.
You could actually gradually, if you do it, if you do a little every day over a period of months, it will integrate. If you just trust that you'll get there eventually. It just takes a lot longer. But when I first learned how to do this 10 years ago or so, because I went through very intensive training in internal family systems therapy, and I began to experience what unburdening, like what more bigger integrations. And I thought, this is really hard. I want to be able to do it really fast. And it was Halloween one year, and I said, okay, this little energy packet, would you put on a Halloween costume, please? So I put on whatever it was. And then I said, okay, now take it off. And then I got this integration. I thought, whew, what just happened? What did I do? Like, I put the costume on, I took it off, like, wow. And so then I kept studying and studying and studying. So for years, I would be in the middle of my workday and something would set me off, an email,
a text.
I would just stop for like 3 minutes and say, okay, energy, got it. I feel it. I'm okay. I appreciate it. Move it aside, sit, integrate. And I just kept doing it during the day, whenever I needed to. And then now I do it in the morning. I usually do one good one. I'll list all the things that are causing me tension, and then I'll do the exercise, and then I'll get the integration. So I do this every day. And what I would say over the years is that all the underbrush of little things that bothered me has gradually cleared away. And so I still have lots of spikes in the moment, because I have a very busy life and lots of things bother me. Look at the world around you. You don't have to go too far to be upset about things.
Yeah.
You just, you know what I mean? So it is, and because of we're all together on social, we're all like connected, wired through the web, we're way more, influenced by everybody's negativity, right?
Yeah.
And our own. And so just know that the integration is just on the other side. It's just, and that energy is trying to show you where it is. So if you move it away, it's right there. The integration's right there. And that is, I think, Jimmy, knowing that means that if you just do a little at a time, you'll gradually feel better
And
over time.
and it's a lifestyle and it's a practice. One question of clarity: when we say not to defeatist, along that line, not being, practicing integration is not a defeatist thing, but that thing, there are certain levels or tiers of declipsing. For one that may be wondering, I still have to go back and deal with it. Integration is not saying that you're not dealing with it. If I understand you from today's episode,
You're reducing the sting of it.
the sting of it. So it's not the issue, it's the impact.
It does.
Buzzword here.
So just like you're around bullying white guys, like in my case,
Yep.
and they're still
doing what they're doing.
still a foot taller than me. I'm still looking up. But I don't feel anything.
Oh,
I see their energy, but
yeah.
I don't have any reaction to it.
So it's not, integration is not saying that what you're dealing with is not real. It's the sting that way. And if you take less of the stress away, your problem solving skills, kind of that point in the study where you said the brain had that activity, something goes off when you kind of listen. It is what it is. This is about them. It's not about me. It's going to have to be addressed, but I'm going to get myself in a space where I can be my best self and come up with the best resolution because I've reduced the sting of their issue, not mine.
Yeah. Well, and see the energy we're talking about here is predator energy. And it's, comes from our evolution, right? Because, evolution's about one species being a predator. Right? Like we just climb up to the top of the predator tree. But the predator energy can't be a predator if there's no weakness there. And so if you're not in a weak state because you're reacting to it, angry, anxious, sad, if you're not, then it bounces right off you. And then they actually don't have the experience that they want, which is to feel stronger than, and so you have an impact. I mean, that's, I think of Martin Luther King as that. I mean,
Come on here.
He integrated, and Mandela, they integrated an ocean of pain. And you could feel their wholeness and their equanimity, right? I'm sure they weren't there every minute of every day. They're still integrating, but that's integration. And that's the like in this movie, those boys had the strength to process the difficulty, extreme difficulty, and turn it into strength. And if we know that the suffering is just the path to more strength. This is what I said to this group of cops. Your destiny is to be stronger than the white people. That's you, because you had that trauma. That's your destiny. That's what the point is here.
God, we might have to get you back before 25. There's so many things to extract from there in reference to when I was talking about before. If you get away from the negative emotional impact, it does make your cognitive from life situations, little, a copier running out of paper and you got to print 200 yesterday. It gives you more problem solving skills. Because you're clearing out the headspace. Yeah. And what I heard from you was you're taking essentially the power away from the predator. They're going to do what they're going to do, but it almost goes to this simple thing, Coach. Don't laugh at me. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off it. I'm just saying, we want to make things as simple as possible so people can get the concept.
Yeah.
But a lot of this is not new. This is things that we grew up
thousands of years old in wisdom. Yeah.
And let me also say that there's a correlation for those that are of faith here. There is a tenet or adage in the faith that I grew up in Christianity, is that, you're what did my bishop used to say? What you're going through in life right now isn't about you. It's the next person that you can tell them you made it from the other side. They're going to be able to get to the other side. To, notions of oh God, I can't remember. I'm a little rusty. Some of the just things that we grew up with in church. I wanted to just acknowledge a comment as we get ready to wrap up. Miss Teresa from Worcester said, I don't let anyone transfer their negative energy to me. Notice when you argue with someone, they remain calm while you get angrier. Don't give them. And I'll be honest with you. That is one of the things. There are sometimes I just want to, partner or whatever family. You just want to, it's for some of us, it's a sport. But what gets me is when they're like, okay, Jimmy, whatever you say, Jimmy. And then I'm standing there like, what? Like, I get aggravated for like 5 seconds, and then it'd be stupid to sit there and try to argue with somebody who was integrated. Oh my goodness.
They're smiling and say, well, you'll get there.
Listen, Coach, we didn't go a lot into, what are 5 key steps to make sure that you complete your accomplishments for 24. There are a lot of apps, there are a lot of books and stuff out there for you to do that. But all of those sort of skill sets and robotic, what's the word? Regimens, they will be just that if we don't address the underroot of some of the things that need to be integrated.
Yeah. Can I add another?
Please.
No,
Absolutely.
Because what we have learned in various domains of science, and this was what happens with scientists are all looking at the same thing in different countries and different situations. And what we're learning is that when it comes to our mental well-being, our psychic well-being, you need to do 2 things. You need to do what we've been talking about, which is turn the negative into growth.
Mm-hmm.
But you also need to foster and harvest and build and draw out the good, the positive.
Yes.
And one of the scientific papers that I just wrote about with a colleague shows that, okay, so if you've got 2 choices in any given moment. Here's the situation in front of me, whatever it is. Do I want to define what my best self would do in this moment and go there? Or do I want to deal with the challenge and integrate it and go there and just deal with that? Okay, so it turns out that when you go to the big picture of you, you're more creative, open-minded, and whatever. So what we didn't do, which I do want us to do now, is not just go in with the suffering, but just say, okay, what would my highest self, my best self, my, the person I want to become or be a role model, what would they do right now? And remember that, and then do the integration, because the brain wants.
Get you a target point. Sorry.
The brain wants to resolve to wherever you start. So if you start with big picture, then the brain keeps bringing you up there. If you start down here, then your brain keeps like going down here. So whenever you're in a meeting, whenever you're starting something, okay, what's the best thing that can happen here? What's the best? What's the optimum? Get your brain into that part of your.
That's right.
Your mind into that part of your brain, and then do that. So start with what's good and what's better and what's best, and then so that's another thing I want to leave everybody with first today, because that's the new. I mean, there's your 2 New Year's resolutions. Think about what's the best that can happen, and then resolve the strain that's in the way.
And that is applicable to everything. Whether you're going, let's go through the list. Whether you're going to start exercising, whether you're going to make your bed is the first thing you do when you get up in the morning, whether you're going to, 64 ounces of water a day, or be nice, or whether you're planning to integrate. The 2 things that we're leaving with is, say it again, Coach Meg, because I want to capture them. One is to, if I can paraphrase, the gold pulse or the target point should be responding to our highest self.
Highest self first. Yeah. What would my highest self do? What would my best self do? What's the best thing that can happen in this moment? And just sit with that.
And then a byproduct or intentionality of that in integration is to get to the point of resolving whatever that negative pocket of energy is there, declips it, make so declips it. And when you see the sun or what you should see when you declips, aim toward the higher self and
Yeah.
how they would do it. And then that brings you, ooh, Coach Meg, this was good.
So basically, you don't really need any more resolutions than to say, what am I at my best? What comes up that's in the way? Integrate that.
Yep.
Get a little closer to my best. Frankly, when you're there, the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah, because you're automatic. If that is the goalpost or the target, when you practice this as a lifestyle, your actions begin to get you there, and you don't fail. You don't do it overnight. I'm tired, and I think I told you before that that's a good indicator at the end of a show. If I'm exhausted, that means that we've had some good exchange. I mean,
your brain got some good exercise today.
It did, and I really it's been a slow process. I'm not there, but when I can tell you that this integration thing I've really integrated it into my life, like not perfectly, but it is sort of that thing. You know what? It is what it is. And I got these little moments where I itch and I kind of want to respond and not declips to the highest self. I want the old Jimmy to eclipse, but Coach Meg, I really, really appreciate you for taking the time. This is your third year coming in with us, and it means so much because each time we have grown. Who knew that the topic that you had the insight to sort of flip last year on a macro level? We were already going through some stuff with race and whatnot, but locally here, that issue of race and just the negative and nasty of those that want to be powerful over us, that it's about them. You touch something about their insecurities and their fear and their things like that. I got to go back and watch that part again. But is there anything that you wanted to leave the audience with? There were so many gems and jewels, nuggets that were dropped here today, but did we miss anything that either me interrupting you or getting excited caused you to forget about?
Gosh, hang in, keep going,
hang in. Yeah.
Because the rough times, and a lot of us had a rough year last year in lots of different ways. They're not wasted. They're not. They're not fun when they're happening, and you wish they're yucky. You wish that it wasn't the way it is. But hang in, because there is the wholeness keeps getting better and better, and that's the gift of age. Really, is if you live well. One thing I can add from the science is that the main driver of life satisfaction, when you look at your life and you say, I feel good about my life, it's because you've survived adversity. The fact that you got through difficult times is what is a key reason why you feel good about your life. Now, isn't that that's about inspiration? Yeah,
it is. A lot of people will jump. I'm sorry.
No, just that's what makes you feel good, is that you weathered the storms and you turned them into sunshine.
It's so interesting because there's some old church adages that come up or whatever, or old church adage, whatever is, I made it. Yeah. As simple as that. Ooh, we're going to turn the organ up here real quick. Coach Meg, get up off of here before we wind up having an old school Pentecostal. No, I really appreciate you for coming in. You have helped me and others that are listening as well. And so let me just check the comments before we go. It's funny because Reverend Drumright is in here, and I know he probably enjoyed a couple of those. And the gift of age is really, that helped me personally, because a young man called me an OG the other day, and I wasn't in a place to declips. I was offended. The energy behind that was, OG, you calling me old, bro? And so thank you so much for just helping us with this integration piece. Really, we didn't name it as much, but that is a healing. That is a healing process to get toward wholeness.
Mhm.
So, Coach Meg, you know, if you need to get anything out or tell us anything or anything comes up, and hey, I thought about Jimmy, and share this with the audience, please let us know, and we're
Well,
here.
yeah, I feel very much part of your family, Jimmy.
Oh,
So,
yes, ma'am. You are. Please, everyone, put the thanks and love for our coach here. We have another coach out of Washington, D.C. That does some motivation, and I actually owe him a phone call. Life happens without our permission, but I'm here. I made it, and that gift of it. This is going to be, that's going to pick up probably in the Java Cafe this year, the gift of age. So shout out to the Mothers Board and other members who are here. Kimberly says thank you. Conchetta Green says thank you, who does some coaching and some, you two should connect. She does some great stuff at Harvard and writing and in publishing. Conchetta, I'll connect y'all via email. But Coach, thank you so much for being with us, and I will be in touch, and I'll get you and Conchetta connected via email.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Great to be with you.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, to you and yours. Folks, that is our wonderful Coach Meg, who was with us. I always feel so weird because there's a technical thing sometimes when you got to like kick somebody out the studio. And when I press that and they just go, it's just weird for me. But I'm integrating it. So listen, that woman, it is really, really real. And I told her, I don't think she knew what our city and our country and our city was dealing with, issues of race and supremacy and whatnot. But she set the context or the stage last year for preparing a lot of getting ready for this. So I'm definitely going to take a couple of clips and send them over to Mayor Wu. Speaking of Mayor Wu, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., Mayor Wu will be with us. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. And so we're going to hear from her. You know, this is an environment where our electeds and some folks get to just be, I mean, on other platforms, they can be real too, but you know, some of the other folks don't sip coffee and make faces like that when something needs to be said or they say something. So anyway, the mayor will be with us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and on Thursday at 9 a.m. Some of you knew that Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen closed its doors in that concept for a period of time. And so they're not closing down the edifice itself, and there will be a new sort of place there, still Black owned, still woman owned. So shout out to Nia Grace. On Thursday, I had the wonderful opportunity of being, and I'll go ahead and say it. I have the most footage, the clearest, the best footage of the live. The live was one thing if you all watched the other day, but I have some footage from what was it, Thursday night at Daryl's that let me see what can I tease and show y'all. Let's just do this one a little bit. Let me show you all this one since the sound is working now. I got scared earlier. Oh no, Chet. It's not going away. The concept, and we're going to figure out how to actually. Nia and I were supposed to talk last week, but she, you know, had a whole lot going on, so wasn't able to do it. But we're going to be chatting with her soon to get some clarity around that. But this is just an example, and also a thank you from Nia Grace to the community and to the public. But on Thursday at 9 a.m., I have probably one video 6 minutes, one video is 5 minutes, a couple of other ones. We're going to have a little mini concert. Yes, Miss Teresa, I'm going to eat. We're going to have a little mini concert on Thursday, courtesy of the Mastodonus Project and Dallas Corner Bar and Kitchen. All right, I'm going to give you all a little sample now. Let's just take it back. Look at Matt Borders, y'all. Matt Borders on set. Oh God, hold on. Pops just told me no sound. Hold on. All right, he just said no sound. I'm sitting up here jamming. All right. What did Coach Meg say? All right, so in my we're gonna do this in real time. In my highest thought, I will sit here and figure out why it's not working. Okay, we're gonna go to the window. We are going to do the entire screen. This is so aggravating, y'all. Let's do the window and see what happens. Now, Pop said no sound. All right, we're gonna try it again. Y'all pray my strength, and let's see what happens. All right, there it is. We're gonna try it one more time, y'all. Now, I got the volume up. The volume should be up. Okay. We're going to try this again. Y'all tell me if there's no sound again. I'm integrating. Tech issues. Do we have sound? Can somebody tell me? Ah! All right. So, oh God, I'm so aggravated, y'all. Why isn't this working? All right. So, you know what? All right. Conchetta said we have. So that's y'all phones. He said it's super low. So I'm going to try it one more time and see what happens, y'all. Integration. I'm going to fix this on for the 13 y'all that are still here. Let's see if we can get this set. Sound yet, y'all? We got him on set. Y'all know I'm gonna sit here and figure this out right now. So y'all get off, do whatever y'all got to go do. I'm gonna figure this thing out. Don't make no sense. Go do what y'all got to do. We gonna sit right here. All right. That's all right. Listen, I answer if I ask a question. Teresa said, I'll stay on to help. No, I appreciate y'all. I'm because listen. All right, that's that there, like StreamYard sucks. Oops. All right, we're gonna try it again. All right, that didn't do it. Let's see. Extra screen, entire screen. To share audio, share a tab instead. I don't get it. All right. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We're going to try this again. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on my own phone. So the interesting part about this is I can only kind of I can only do this live. So thank y'all for staying in here with me. Let me close this. I don't know what it is. Shout out to all the associate producers that are in the building this morning. All right, we're going to. It's not. Let me see. Sound broadcaster. I'm gonna have to call StreamYard because unless maybe I close it and start it over. Let's try that. Let's see if me opening it again will do it. Thank y'all for y'all patience, but I definitely got to get this fixed. It happened last week. All right, let's see if it'll do it this time. Saying entire screen. All right. This is crazy. Nope. Let me see something in settings. let's see if we can get it now. I just did something here. Let's see if it works. All right, still nothing. All right, Miss Teresa said for I don't. I'll ask you all because I'll ask when I need something answered. Uh, SD card. Yeah, everything up here looks. That's weird. All right, I'm getting off of here. I don't know what the issue is. Chet, thanks. Miss Teresa, thanks. Ma, thanks. Who else? Pastor Marion. Pastor Marion said, "Do we get credit for this?" I'm not messing with y'all. I do gotta figure this out. So, and the only way to do it is live, which is crazy. So y'all are not y'all don't understand that when I play it here, the mic's picking it up. So that's tricky. That's not correct. That's not a what's the word? It's a tech thing that I just can't explain. All right, I'm gonna try one more time. I don't know what is causing it to not. All right, there we go. This integration thing for sure, y'all, is aggy. Share screen. Also share tab audio. Let me close well, no. This is weird. Okay. Let's see. Ma, this is voluntary. Don't y'all be cheating on UCB. This is a tech issue. On top of y'all get a whole 90 minutes. All right, let's try it one more time. And love. So now it's working. After the 4 y'all are Ma, Miss Teresa, Pastor Marion. It seems like it all right. Without me, now y'all also let me turn. How do I do this? Tell me if you can. All right, let me get off of here. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm on D&D. So yes, I'm not fully integrated right now. We will see you guys tomorrow morning with the mayor at 9 a.m. But seriously, thank you all for staying on, and I'm out of here. Peace, everybody.